Most Democrats ignore history, and not just the distant kind. They often reject even the recent past when it challenges their narrative. They're quick to spotlight anyone who dissents from party orthodoxy. Even longtime allies like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, the moment their views stray from the mainstream script, left-leaning media works overtime to discredit them. This isn't progress, it's political conformity. Yet the same voices that decry the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, are eerily silent about more destructive episodes committed by individuals and groups aligned with the left. If political violence is truly unacceptable, why does only one side of the aisle get the microscope? Here's a reality check. 2020 unrest. Following George Floyd's death, major U.S. cities experienced looting, arson, and attacks on police and federal buildings. The protests, some peaceful, many not, left behind billions in damage and dozens of deaths. Media spun this as a summer of love. 𝘁/𝘵 in Seattle, an autonomous zone run by left-wing activists, operated with no law enforcement for weeks, resulting in multiple shootings. It was labeled by some as a social experiment rather than an insurrection. 2017 congressional baseball shooting. A left-wing gunman opened fire on Republican lawmakers during practice. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise was critically wounded. Despite its significance, the incident faded from media headlines almost as fast as it appeared. 2022, assassination attempt against Justice Brett Kavanaugh, a man armed with weapons and a stated intent to kill a sitting Supreme Court. Justice was arrested, coverage was fleeting, discussion minimal. Threats against President Trump throughout his presidency. There were reports of threats and plots, some investigated by federal agencies, that rarely received the coverage one would expect if the political tables were turned. These events weren't just criminal. They were politically motivated, yet far too often. They're minimized, forgotten, or reframed by the left as justified expressions of frustration or activism. That pattern persists even now. In 2025, when someone dies, whether by accident or other circumstances, the moment left-leaning media or activists discover that the individual was a Republican, a MAGA supporter, or simply held conservative beliefs, the tone shifts dramatically. Instead of empathy, what surfaces are insults, accusations, and dehumanizing language, often suggesting the person deserved it. The narrative zeroes in on the worst traits, real or imagined, ignoring their humanity and weaponizing their political identity. That kind of selective moral outrage is injustice. It's tribalism masquerading as virtue. So, when Democrats frame January 6 as an existential crisis for American democracy, it's fair to ask, why is that event treated as uniquely horrific, while other acts of violence are conveniently dismissed? Selective outrage distorts the truth. It protects tribal loyalty instead of promoting genuine accountability. If we're going to confront political violence, let's do it honestly, not just when it's useful. not just when it's useful.
Not just when it's useful.
Not just when it's useful.